Welcome to the Skedaddle Podcast, where we talk about running and bring in people from the community that have an affinity for running or lack thereof. And one of our first guests that we have here today is a runner in the community, also a fitness instructor, run coach, community presence, health advocate, and still somehow has time to be a fur mom that can bench press a dog that weighs more than I do. Give it up for Lurysol, you guys. Thank you. This is episode 4, actually. Episode 4. So excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So this is your first podcast?
Yes, my first podcast ever.
I'm excited to have you.
Yeah.
You're the first Lurysol that we've ever had. Okay, so before we get started, if you wanted anything to drink, there are some drinks there for you if you want. If you want to. I
like how you have Michelob Ultra.
Oh yeah, it's the runner's beer, And this episode is sponsored by Fit Aid, which is Life Aid's energy drink. Go out to the show notes or the description if you want to go out and get one. So here what we do. What we do here is we kind of just talk about, you as someone in the community and also as a running advocate. So can you just kind of let us know a little bit? I did some snooping, but I want to kind of get a little more about you from you. What is your fitness journey like? How has it been in the years that you have been on this whole fitness, adventure?
I mean, gosh, I've been a trainer since I was 21.
Really?
So this has really only been my real job.
Wow.
Being a trainer. I started off at 24 Hour Fitness. Mm-hmm. Right after I was done playing volleyball at Delta. You kind of go through that transition of like, well, what am I going to do next? And one of my friends who was working at the gym was like, hey, we need a girl trainer. You should come. Went. And it was fun, but that wasn't really what I went to school for.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you start meeting people and you're helping them, you start just thinking of this like, okay, maybe I can do this like as a living. So that's kind of how that started. And then I left the corporate gym to go to another small training studio. But that was really hard because I didn't know anybody here in Stockton. So I had to really go out into the community and meet people. And that's kind of how my running journey started.
Yeah.
Was having to go to Tony's Fleet Feet running groups for their half marathon. And he's like, you can come help them stretch. And I was like, okay. But I was not a runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that. When you play sports, you get punished by go run a lap.
Exactly.
Go run sprint. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not really a runner, but I'll come out and I'll do what I can. And as you meet people, I started enjoying it. And then I ended up doing my first half with them, which was the Shamrock in Sacramento.
That was your first half?
That was my first half.
Wow.
15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of how it started. I was meeting people, and obviously like the running community, if you do go out there, everybody's so encouraging.
Yeah.
And there's people of all ages. Yeah. So it's not like, I'm old, I can't do this. No, that's not even true.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I'm overweight. No, there's people of all sizes.
Yeah.
So it's such a motivating community. And then obviously when you're out in the races, you see people that have a prosthetic leg, or in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And they're out there doing it. So it's like, I'm thankful to have all my limbs. And so it's like, I'm going to do this too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started. And then started meeting people, helped them get stronger for their races as well with training. And I just kept going with it until I was able to open up my own spot.
Okay. Which is called?
Combined Fitness.
All right. There's your plug. You got to throw that in there. Well, that's cool. I never knew the whole kind of spectrum of how you kind of got to where you are. I think I first met you when I was doing that marathon around Stockton.
Yes.
Is that kind of so just some backstory. It was during COVID. That's how my running journey kind of started. My very first half was the Golden Gate Half Marathon, and I wanted to keep running, but obviously COVID shut everything down. So started running, virtually and doing all the little virtual medal dash and all those runs and stuff, and became an ambassador for them. And as I started doing the virtual runs and kind of just recording them, I realized I want to do something a little bit more than just running in a circle every single time. So I wanted, at the time, all the businesses were either going bankrupt or some were getting support from the state and some were not. And I wanted to I felt terrible seeing like, you know, all these shut down, boarded up buildings. And I wanted to do something that highlighted those businesses while also recognizing the city, while also promoting fitness.
Right.
But I was like, how do I do that if everything's closed and we're keeping our distance? So I just asked everyone to put out some water while I ran my very first marathon all around the city, which in retrospect was kind of bold on me because I had never done a marathon before. I didn't have any kind of training. I had no idea what I was doing. And you were one of the people that put out water, and I needed something on that last stretch because I went all the way from like North Stockton to downtown, wrapped around, I think the City Hall building, and then came down Fremont where you would be. And that was my first time meeting. I didn't know it. Most businesses just like put out a Gatorade or some water on the side and said, you know, congratulations, good luck.
Yeah.
And that was it. But you were actually out there. You like, I had my biking team that was kind of recording everything, and you cut up like bananas. You had like oranges and you had all that stuff out there. And I was just like, dude, this is cool. She's tight. I like that. That's hecka nice. And that was our first interaction. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
4 years later almost. So that is the introduction of how we met. So, and now here we are like both doing running things.
Yeah.
So I kind of look to you sometimes for inspiration when I think about how to organize a group of runners, because you have Latinas on the Run. Tell me more about how that became a thing and how that's different from your gym.
So Latinas on the Run started, I want to say, in 2017, I think, the end of it. I had recently gone on a trip to New York, and a friend was like, you guys need to come back. I'm not a traveler. And I was like, you know what? If I come back to New York, it's because I'm going to run. Yeah. And so I signed up to do the lottery for the New York Marathon, and then I got in. So I was like, oh, crap. So I have to train for it. And mind you, I hadn't done, my first marathon was back in 2010. Yeah. Was the Nike Women's Marathon. That was my first one. I did one, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. Yeah. Because it's hard. Yeah.
I've only done one, to be aside from the one I did virtually.
So then one of my girlfriends the following year, she got into it. And she's like, come on, you got to run it with me, blah, blah, blah. So then I ended up doing my second one with her. And then that was it. Never ran it. Have been running halves, 10Ks, and that's it. So signed up for New York. I got in. So I had to train for it. Obviously, we don't really have a marathon training group in Stockton, so I relied on my girlfriends. Yeah. And then at the time, CIM came out with like, oh, hey, you know, sign up for that. And so I told my friends, well, you might as well sign up for it since you're running with me. Yeah. You know, CIM is right after New York. Yeah. So me and my girlfriends were just running, and it's like, we're all Latinas. And so we were just like, oh, you know, we're like Latinas on the Run, just running. And, you know, like we should run a marathon in each state. And just obviously when you're running for that amount of time, things just pop in your head. Yeah, you just 26 miles and just think about stuff. Exactly. You're running for hours.
Yeah, you just inspiration, sadness, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how it started, because we was just us just running. And then it did end up growing, because then more people were like, well, I want to run a marathon. Yeah. And so now I've done 9 marathons. Wow. I've done New York. I've done one in Arizona, Nevada, California. And so eventually, like, I'll branch out and do the other ones as I go. And that's kind of how it started. And obviously, we're not just only Latinas. We have all races, you know, welcome everybody. But it just stemmed from just my friends who are Latinas.
Yeah, you got some guys in there, too, actually. Yes. Yeah, I see that. George is out there.
George and Lucas.
Yes. Those are the dudes.
We have Art.
Yep, there you go.
Eugene. I mean, everybody's welcome. Yeah. You know, so, and I love the diversity of it.
Yeah. And I love the way that you guys do your runs, too. Like, I've come out when you guys did the autism one, which was a virtual run that you turned into, like, an in-person one?
Yes. Because a lot, you know, because of the community, I like to try to keep everybody informed, too, on the awareness of things. And one of my friends was like, hey, you know, her son's autistic. And so it's like, well, let's get together. Yeah. And, you know, let's teach people. And then also introduce people to other people that are going through something. Because, you know, we're all going through something. Yeah. You know, and I think running brings people together that you might not know are going through their own thing just like you. Yeah. No, that's very true. And working in education, that's one thing that kind of sparked my interest in it. In addition to the fact that my mom, just a backstory on her, she was adopting before I was born. She was adopting after I was born. So there's always been just people in our lives. And she specifically likes working with those that have been through, like, you know, the special education program resource, and those that have been displaced. And so
that's been like kind of her Mother Teresa thing that she just has going on. And so later on, after she was, done adopting kids and saving the world that way, she went to be a bus driver for Laidlaw, and she was driving like the smaller buses and getting those kids, to and from school. And she just always had an affinity for helping people. And when I became a teacher, I had to decide if I wanted to go into like the general education route, or do I want to go and help special education. I did go gen ed, but I wanted to, while I'm in those classes, still help the kids that I know that my mom would want to help. And so it's kind of been like something special for us, because since I've seen those kids grow up, in our household, I've worked with a lot of kids with autism. And it's sometimes crazy to kind of think that like my introduction all became part of it because my mom was bringing these kids into the house.
That's awesome.
So it's really cool that that you do that too. So Randa, we're going to branch off for just a second. But your name is very unique. I haven't seen another Lurysol before. Where does the name come from? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah. My name, actually, my dad made it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like two names put together.
Yeah.
It's Mayan, according to him.
Yeah.
And it means goddess of the sun.
Yeah.
In his way. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I mean, there might be a couple other Lurysols now.
Yeah.
Because I've had people ask me
Yeah.
if they can name their child, either it's a middle name or their first
Yeah.
name. So I don't know if they did, but.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you come across another Lurysol, then
Yeah.
you're the originator, I guess. That's pretty cool. All right, just a little sidebar, because I wanted to know, like, where did that come from? So next, because I know that I host running events, and you have your runners, and you guys go out to different runs. Do you run on Saturdays or Sundays?
I run on Sundays.
Why Sundays?
Because Sundays is the day I don't work.
Yeah.
I work
Okay.
Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
And
All at the gym.
all at the gym. Yeah.
Grinding.
And but when I started running with Fleet Feet, we were always meeting up on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it just that stemmed from that.
Yeah. It's just funny, because like I know I always try to get...
I know we battle on that.
I know you do, and I always try to get her out to the events, and I know that you guys are always running on Sundays, and so it's always a challenge to try to get you guys out there. So, but what do you guys think? Do you run on Saturdays? Do you run on Sundays when you do your big runs? Let us know. Okay, so we are going to go on to the next thing, which is all of the runs that you've been doing. But before we do that, we're going to take a little break, and then we'll get back to Lurysol's kind of just all the different runs that she's done over time. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back with Lurysol from Latinas On The Run / Combined Fitness or Combine Fitness?
Combined Fitness.
Combined Fitness. I think because I think of the NFL Combine. And
Which I don't mind. Because
Okay.
I do get people that call.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, come on down.
Okay, I just want to make sure I get it right, because like I say it both
Yeah.
interchangeably, just whatever flows out right the first time. So you've done 9 full marathons?
9 full.
Okay, and across 3 states so far?
Yeah.
California, Arizona, and Nevada.
Nevada. Oh, New York.
And New York, that's right. So 4.
4.
I have done 1, and surprisingly, it was not in California. It was the Portland Marathon, and I did not train for it. I did not prepare myself mentally, physically. I do halves. That's like my sweet spot. I like the half marathon distance, and I was like, it's just a half twice, right? I mean, what's the big deal? And so I went out there thinking if I can do a half, I can do a full. Like, I'm still energized after a half because I do it all the time. And so I get out there. I don't pay attention to the route. I don't pay attention to like the elevation or anything. I just like, I'm sure it's going to be fine. We make a trip out of it. I do a whole partnership with Brooksy. So that way they sponsor the whole run. I'm like, cool. And we get out there and I see how much of the city is blocked off. And we're driving this distance, right? We're just seeing like, oh, that's blocked. Oh, that's blocked off. Wow, that was blocked off 6 miles ago. Oh, that was blocked off like 11. Wow, this is really far. And so immediately I'm trying not to psych myself out. I'm like, all right, fine, cool. So we go stay at the hotel, which is literally right at the starting line, conveniently. Also didn't plan that correctly, but go me, go wife. We get down there, we start stretching, and take off right out the gun. I'm doing my thing. My typical mile 1, mile 2, all that stuff. And then I get to like mile 8, I think, and I feel like my calves are kind of cramping. I'm like, did I not stretch it adequately? What's going on? And I realized, like, I'm looking at my watch, and my elevation is just, it's a small but very, very small incline throughout the entire first part. So I was like, ugh. But I'm like, all right, I'll just push through it. I'll be fine. Get to the halfway mark, 13.1, typical pace. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Doing
crushing
good.
this. We're going to be just fine. Mile 14, I'm like, ooh. Mile 15, I'm like, ugh. 16. I talked to one of the people at Fleet Feet, the corporate Fleet Feet in North Carolina. And her name's Ashley. And she told me, make sure you watch out for mile 16 and 18 because those are going to be the walls. And I was just like, don't know what that means. I'm invincible. So, mile 16 is where I walk for the first time. And I have walked before, right? It's not like I'm like, oh, I don't walk. But this time I'm walking because I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is way longer than I anticipated. So I was like, whatever, mental, David Goggins, let's just push on through. And so keep going, stop again at mile 18. And I try to keep running, and my body's just like, no, it's not happening. And I'm seeing all these people pass me, right? And I'm just like, I passed that person like 30 minutes ago. Like, this is crazy. And now I'm like psyching myself out, like mentally, because I'm by myself, right? There's no other person like running with me that's like, come on, bro, we got this. It's just me. And so we're going and like we're on this stretch where it's just like a long, like, park, if you will. Like, it's like a street, but there's like a park in the middle. And then you just loop back. It's like an up and back part. And then you just kind of repeat the course back. And, I have all these people that are out there that are hyping you up with signs. This lady's cooking bacon on the side of like the road, and she's serving up bacon. This one lady has like a orange tree in front of her house. She's cutting oranges. I'm eating all this stuff. People are hyping me up. I just can't receive it. I'm not mentally prepared for this. And so I go back up. I do the loop back, and now we're like mile 19 or 20, and I'm just like, gosh, I'm looking at my pace, and I'm just like, 6 more miles to go, and I'm like, 6 more to go. It's a 10K. You could do this. But my body just won't do it. That was the first time that I've seen my body and mind out of sync. Just completely out of sync. And I could not shake it off. So my half marathon point was my PR. First mistake. The rest of it was so long. It's like, I don't even like mentioning it. It was so bad. And I was just like, this is the last marathon I'm going to do. But as I finished it, and I felt the relief and like getting the medal and like seeing Vanessa at the finish line, it was just really, really convenient to like finally sit down and just enjoy the food, because Voodoo Donuts is out there and it's just like, it's so fun. I was like, all right, I need to do one more to beat this time. This will not define me. So that being said, I will plan on doing the Modesto Marathon, hopefully with Kyle Toledo. And maybe 1 or 2 more here and there. I don't know. I can't guarantee it. But yeah, that is my marathon experience. But halves, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah.
Which of your marathons that you've done was the hardest one?
The hardest one? I definitely Nike Women's.
Yeah?
Because
where is that one at?
In San Francisco. They don't have it anymore in California.
Yeah.
But because of the hills.
Yeah.
We live in Stockton. It's all flat.
Yeah.
So training for something like that, it's hard. So you have to obviously make the time, drive up there, do a couple hill trainings. So those are probably the hardest.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just push through.
Yeah. I would say, because I do the Golden Gate half marathon, which conveniently isn't that hilly. Yeah. Just until you get to like mile 3, because you got to get up to the bridge, and then go under and then repeat. But I've heard that the San Francisco Marathon is pretty hilly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did that one.
Yeah.
Like right after COVID.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right.
That was George and Lucas.
George and Lucas. That's right. And I was gonna join them, but I just did something right before, and I was like, my body's not ready for that. But I will. You guys let me know what your next full is, and I will try to get there if my body will allow for it to happen.
Honestly, choose CIM.
CIM?
Yeah, we did that one last year.
Yeah.
Or the year before. Yeah, the year before.
CIM?
I did that as a full. I mean, and it's little rolling hills.
December, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, it's cold. But you'll get warm as you're on the course.
I like running in the cold, me personally. I prefer cold over the heat any day, because I I know that my body will get warmer. Like your fingers get cold or whatever, and your nose might run a little bit, but I will get warmer. When you run and it's hot, like I have a run tomorrow. It's the Moonlight 10 miler in Davis, and you start at 6 p.m. And I know. I'm not excited for that one. I'm excited because I've never run at like night before in another city, and it's gonna be a really cool course. But I'm not excited for the heat whatsoever. I think it says it's still gonna be like 98 or 97 when I start. So, but anywho, okay. So, the next one. Have you ever had like an embarrassing moment while you were running, like something that happened during the run, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that was like absolutely terrible?
No, thank God.
No. Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you about mine. This is where I was introduced to pasties for the first time.
Oh.
Okay. I think you know where this is going.
Yeah.
Had no idea. And I just got this new shirt from one of the virtual running companies I was working with. They're just called Virtual Runners out in the UK. And I was doing a lot of their runs. And they sent this like polyester, really cool, fully printed all the way through shirt. And I was like, oh, this is great. First time running in one. And it said ambassador on the front. I was like super excited. It's like this yellow shirt. And so I told them that we were going to be doing like this video where I run and I post like, me running a half marathon in their shirt. It was kind of warm that day and I was sweating, and my gosh, the chafing that happened was absolutely terrible. And I was fine. Okay. Legs are fine. Ankles, great. Lungs, amazing. The nips were on fire. And I was running with a group of people because that was our first time doing something like, semi in person. And I just kept running like this, and I'm like trying to find ways to, get comfortable because it was like burning, man. Ever since then, if I'm running in like somebody else's shirt, or if it's not like a comfortable shirt, or if I don't know what shirt I'm going to get, because, you get to the runs, you have no idea what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Pasty it up every single time. Yeah. Take no chances, because that shirt is ruined forever. And
you learned your lesson.
I know, and I absolutely hate it. It is the worst feeling. So that is my worst and most embarrassing, I think, experience. I've heard other runner experiences where, like, didn't get to the bathroom in time, but nothing crazy like that for me.
Yeah, thankfully none.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one last segment that we want to do, and this is called the final stretch. And we're going to cover 9 rapid fire questions. I call them the whole 9 yards. And you got to just answer quickly. Don't think too hard about it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Nothing too crazy. Just like, asking you what your social is and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. All right. So, walk or run?
Run.
Half or full marathon?
Half.
Eat before or after the run?
Both.
Ooh, okay. Trail run or road?
Road.
Interesting. Okay. Ponytail or hat?
Both.
Both? Mm-hmm. Ponytail in
Depends.
The hat? Okay, all right. Okay. Honey stinger or goo?
Spring.
Oh, spring. Spring energy dose?
Yes.
Me too. Very good choice. Very good choice. Drake or Kendrick?
Kendrick.
Wine or beer?
After a run?
After a run.
Wine or beer.
Beer? Because I do 2 different runs. There's the IPA 10K, and I also do the Napa to Sonoma.
Nice cold beer.
Nice cold beer? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I agree. And last question, the final question. Do you take the banana at the finish line?
Yeah, but sometimes I don't eat it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You always take it, but never don't always eat it?
I paid for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab everything.
I grab all kinds of stuff. Man. The Golden Gate Half, they have like all these bars and like little snacks. They have like popcorn. They have
I take it all.
Ghirardelli chocolate. I'm like, I get my bag. I get my like baggage claim stuff, and I just start like loading that thing up. Will I eat all this stuff? Who knows? I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Any last messages or any shout outs, any shameless plugs that you want to throw in there?
Let's see. I mean, a couple things. If you're going to start running, go get fitted for the right running shoe. So definitely hit up Fleet Feet so you can get fitted correctly so you're not having any injuries, because that's the one thing that people always tell me, like, I would start running but my knee hurts or my hip hurts or something. So start there fundamentally, and then join a group. There's several different groups in the community, and just have fun.
Yeah.
Because running is fun.
Yeah.
You know, we don't take it serious. We just go out there, and, you know, everyone's going through something in life, so this is a great way to distract yourself.
Yeah.
Meet some new people, or, like, you know, be with the people that have the same things in common and just have fun.
No, I think that's very important to say, because I feel like that's where we align, because I know that there's, like, other groups out there that are just made for, like, prime athletes, you know, and that's their niche, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I like to entertain the idea that anyone can do a 5K if they just train for it.
Exactly.
Or sometimes people feel like it's too hard, you know, or they're not able to. But I think once people finally, like, even walk a 5K, they're like, oh, that's just 3 miles. That wasn't that bad. I think the idea of a run kind of intimidates people, and they think that this is something that's impossible.
Yeah, you have to be fast.
You have to be. You have to be first. You know, like, I'm not gonna get the medal. Everyone's getting a medal.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Everyone's getting a medal, and you're gonna get the banana.
Yeah.
So thank you for making it an open space for everyone, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. And before we go, I'd like to thank all of our amazing sponsors that make this happen. Of course, Fit Aid for sponsoring this episode, and I'd like to thank our patrons on Patreon, Blanca, Heather, and James. You guys help this pod go, and I really appreciate that you guys allow us to meet here. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on any of the places that you listen to your podcast, such as Spotify and Google Podcasts. And we will see you guys on the next episode. I will see you later. Peace.